everybody, good evening and welcome to Fish Hunt Northwest, Wayne England, Kelly Barnum, and hey, we're actually back live this week.
Yes.
We apologize. Last week, a little staffing issue. I mentioned it the week prior to that, so 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
I think, little staffing issue, and you know, it's going to happen, so once in a while we got to do a pre-record, and we apologize. We want to be live and relevant every single week as you tune in, so I guarantee you this week we are live, we are interactive, so make sure you chat it up, post your questions. Before I get too far off of the rails here, I want to welcome you either via Facebook or YouTube. If you're watching this evening, we thank you. We'll be joined later in the kitchen, of course, by Chef Kelly Lance O'Neill and his beautiful assistant Sherry with another fantastic recipe of the week. Big shout out to David and Blake over in IT Corner, because we got a whole lot of new things going on that just require brain matter.
Yes.
That you and I don't have.
Tonight's show is stuffed.
I almost was going to say stupid, but it's stupid in a good way.
Right.
There's so much going on that and we're trying to cram it all in within the next 2 hours. So sit down, hold on. It's going to be really good. We got some great guests coming up via the phone. We got an in-studio guest coming up later on that's going to blow your mind. Just a lot of really good things happening. And we were able to get it all done on the road without the interweb or the social medias, no phone service, no nothing, because we were so far off grid.
Right.
Enjoying some fishing time and video that we're going to show you in a little while here. But we're happy just to put it all together here.
Well, I mean, being off grid is always nice. I love when the cell phone doesn't ring, bother me all day.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of effort goes into making this happen every week.
Right.
And it's hard to get that done when you have zero connectivity.
Zero connectivity, and so you get it done when you pull in the driveway last night, unload the boat, unload the truck, put on a pot of coffee. It's 8 o'clock at night, and then you work here until about midnight or 1 in the morning, and then get up at 5 this morning, hammer the stuff out to bring you guys a fantastic show. So we're Barnum, it almost sounds like we're complaining, but we're not, right?
No,
we're not complaining. So lots of good stuff going on, and we're going to get into it. I want to remind you that Fish Hunt Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Pacific Commons, located in Puyallup, Washington, along with our other sponsors who are on board. And if you are watching us week in and week out and have products relevant to our industry or a business that you want to talk to us about, please give us a phone call or check us out on our Facebook page. We're always happy to talk about that. We got a little bit of room and we're willing to barter. So with that, few things going on in the realm of around the Pacific Northwest and beyond, Puget Sound as well, and news you can use. A couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, I mentioned that the Twin Harbors Advocacy Group is following through with their lawsuit that they're moving forward with WDFW. Again, it's all about opening doors. They want to allow laypersons to have access to be more involved with the North of Falcon process, the salmon season setting process, and they feel, as do many others in the state, that there is too much behind closed door meetings that go on between WDFW and the co-managers, that being the tribes. And this happens year in and year out, where they have public meetings, but the real work gets done behind the closed doors. Right. The agreed to fisheries, as they are recognized, all happens behind closed doors. The Twin Harbors Advocacy Group has been on point and very pursuant in trying to get those doors open. I think I'd mentioned previously that I had sat at commission meetings, I had watched the state attorneys general or assistant attorney general talk about the fact that the tribes don't have to do open public meetings, public forum. They're a sovereign nation, and there's a lot of headbutting in that regard going on. We have groups that on behalf of recreational opportunities are fighting for you in trying to work through the process and the laws and hold WDFW accountable. Now, we're not trying to paint a bad picture here or give WDFW a black eye. This is just business. Right. And this is politics, and this is litigation, and it's through the courts, and this is the way things are solved or rectified. So the latest update was that the advocacy group had filed a motion or some paperwork that they wanted some records given to them. They wanted some information brought forth based on the administrative, I didn't even realize this thing existed, that's why I'm reading it. Administrative Procedure Act, the APA, requires that WDFW maintain a record of rule making proceedings available for public review. Okay, so this is one rabbit hole they're going down to say we're using what's written in law to acquire documentation that we want, right?
Right. So is that basically stating that you don't necessarily have to open the meeting up to public being at the meeting, but you at least have to put it online or someplace for us to watch it later?
Information should be accessible,
right.
Yeah. I'm not sure which direction they're going with that, but the interesting thing was the advocacy attorney, Joe Ferrari, and President Tim Hamilton notified WDFW that they would be arriving at 3 o'clock the following afternoon after filing this paperwork to pick up the requested documentation. Okay. Those representing WDFW, the attorneys, so to speak, that are handling this. Again, WDFW has so much going on. They have different attorneys working at all different levels of litigation and laws and things that are happening. They basically asked the advocacy representatives to cancel the visit. Which is a polite way of saying, don't bother showing up, we're not meeting with you, right? So, not sure why, maybe schedule conflict, or they just said, we're not going to give you that information. They requested information, they were handed a letter that basically said, you will not be getting these documents. So I'm not sure why WDFW is playing hardball in that regard. Again, that's, it's a litigation thing, it's a law thing, but here's a group of citizens who have formed and have done their homework and said, we're going to let the laws work for us and we want this information. And here's the representatives of WDFW saying, you're not getting it. So this is why they're in court. Right. Okay, this is part of the process. And they made it clear that you will not be able to review these files. Of course, the advocacy group is then now filing a motion to move forward with that. Now, the reason I bring this to your attention is because there's so many layers to this thing, and it's going to be ongoing, that from time to time when we get the email updates, we're going to bring you that information just so you can follow along how this stuff works.
Right. Because this is a huge deal. I mean, having public input or even public be involved in the Northrop Falcon procedures would be absolutely enormous.
Yes.
I mean, so this is as big as it gets in season setting for Pacific Northwest salmon fisheries.
Well, and back up on that too, Barnum. When's the last time you saw a private citizen group that is taking it to this next level?
Right.
When's the last time you saw my hat's off to these guys, because it's not like they're being a bunch of douchebags.
Right.
They're basically reviewing legal matters. They feel they're entitled to see and be involved with this part of the process. They're asking for that, and they're being told no. So they're following through with the process. I am very curious, and we have a lot of contacts at WDFW, so we're going to reach out and say, hey, what's going on this? So, if you guys, by all means, if you want to have your persons directed towards us and we can have that conversation, we'll grab a cup of coffee, come sit down and see if we're clear off the rails in following what these guys are doing. Right. Because I just want to know what the truth is and what's going on. The updates I'm getting are from the recreational side of it. So there's always two sides to every story. We have an open door, good relationship with a lot of folks at WDFW, and we're going to keep it that way. But I want to know both sides as we work through this process. So to me, it's just interesting to see the level that this is going, and it's going to get deeper. Yeah. Going to definitely get deeper. So you and I have a habit over the last 12 weeks. This is our 12th show, by the way, so thank you for tuning in. Happy that you're here. I think we talked about before the show. We have probably mentioned mountain lion encounters at least 6 times, at least 6 times in the 12 weeks we've been doing the show. Because they keep reoccurring or happening in different areas. Now, we're talking from BC down to California. It doesn't matter. Right. We have a kitty cat problem. Right. It doesn't really matter, because all the governing bodies, whether it be British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California, they're all struggling with this same thing. How to manage predator populations that are starting to grow beyond carrying capacity with legislative decisions that have been passed by vote or passed down from, hierarchy government agencies that have curbed effective management tools, i.e. hound hunting, baiting, things like this. Yeah. So, we're having huge explosions in populations, and now we're starting to see what many of us said back in 1996 in the state of Washington when they passed, I believe it was Initiative 695, that eliminated baiting and hound hunting, bears and cougars. Yep. That we said back then that, that's all fine and dandy, but somewhere down the road,
these cats, these bears are going to, you know, go into a park and take a kid off a swing set, and you guys are going to be begging that we come back and save the day.
Yeah.
And we are really close. Really close.
Well, let's talk about the recent encounters. We'll follow this up with the wolf at the end. But let's talk about the 2 cat episodes that happened within this last week.
Right.
Quite a geographical distance apart, but it doesn't matter. It's still a cat and a child.
Yes.
With contact.
Right.
Right.
So let's start here in Washington State. Washington State, earlier this week, we had a 4-year-old boy in Leavenworth at Enchantment Park in Leavenworth, which is a small park. I'm going to show you real quick here on Google Earth in a second here after I go through a few details where exactly that park is located within Leavenworth. He's out playing playing in the park. Mom and dad are there. They have their family dogs. Earlier in the day, citizens had reported to Fish and Wildlife officials that they had seen a cougar in the area acting abnormally.
Yeah.
Now, by abnormal, we don't know what that is, looking at the details of this story, but how the day kind of played out, we may think that the cougar was abnormal would mean the cougar was hunting.
Sure.
The cougar would encounter this 4-year-old and basically knock him down, from what I'm understanding, and the dad, smartly thinking, releases his dogs, and the dogs go after the cougar and cause the cougar to flee the scene and take off. But without the dogs, who knows where this situation ends up? And I'm going to hop up here, and we're going to go to Google Earth, and we're going to pull up this Enchantment Park here. As you can see, if you can kind of follow my cursor here, you can see this is Enchantment Park in Leavenworth. This is the main drag in Leavenworth. This is the community pool. I mean, this is right here. If you kind of look at this, the park has, it's right along the Wenatchee River, kind of just where the Icicle River dumps in. You have a golf course just to the, I'm assuming that's to the north of it. Here's the park. You have residential area here, commercial residential area here. This cougar, obviously, they said it's a 120-pound male, probably 1.5 to 2 years old. He is, by looking at this, very okay with being in suburban, even urban areas.
There's not really a deep-seated wooded area that he comes crawling out. I mean, he has to travel through some well-developed stuff to get there, right?
I mean, he has to cross the river if he comes from this direction here.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is residential area in this area. So I mean, he's accustomed to working through backyards. Yep. And I mean, WDFW officials said that there was nothing about this cougar that seemed to be unhealthy. He wasn't battling an injury.
Nope.
He's perfectly healthy, and 120 pounds at under 2 years old.
Unlike the cat that attacked the bicyclist up on the trail, was an emaciated, young, starving, very somewhat ill cat who you would think, well, no wonder he's aggressive. This cat was healthy by all counts, right?
And acting abnormally earlier in the day, which, like I said, I would think that by abnormal, somebody was mistaking his hunting behavior for
as abnormal.
Not just rolling through town.
It makes you wonder at night how many cats maybe come creeping around the fringe of town, or just go trotting across a road, or because that's when they're active.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And realistically, I mean, these cougars are not in these suburban areas looking to hunt people.
No.
They're in there hunting the deer populations that are exploding within suburban areas, because a lot of these areas don't allow hunting at all.
Right.
And so you have deer populations that are booming out of control.
Yep.
You have small cats, you have small dogs. I mean, just a plethora of food choices. Chickens, I mean, you have more and more people doing more urban farming, and so you have chickens and other, livestock close to town, and this is going to continue to grow. They're
predators, they're opportunistic. And they don't, they stay within a given area.
Right.
And they're going to find a food source within that given area.
Right. And we hear the talk all the time about urban sprawl.
Right.
And how a lot of these encounters that we're seeing now, they want to blame it on urban sprawl.
Up in the hills.
Right.
On the fringe of the forest.
Right. And what you're seeing here with the Leavenworth attack, in my opinion, is not urban sprawl at all.
No.
I mean, when you look at those pictures, I mean, this is the downtown area.
Yeah.
This isn't new construction to these cougars.
No.
This is stuff that's been around for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yep.
But let's talk about a situation now. We move south, we go to San Diego, where earlier this week, San Diego County another attack happened on another small child.
Yeah.
This was a group of up to 10 people that were walking up, and I'm going to butcher this name, but Los Penasquitos Canyon Preserve.
Los Penasquitos.
I think I got it.
It sounds good to me because I don't know any difference.
And they're walking this trailhead, and a cougar approaches the pack.
Midday?
Yep. Sounds like it was midday. I think so. It said 11 a.m.
Okay.
The pack scrambles, the people scramble, and the cougar takes on another small child. And luckily, the father of this group, or one of the males in this group, starts throwing rocks at the cougar and scares it off.
Yeah.
So as we talk about urban sprawl, we'll go back up to the map, and we'll pull up this instance. This is the Los Penasquitos Canyon Trail, and as I scroll back, you can kind of see this development.
There may be a few people who live there.
Yes, I mean, this is for people that live in the Pacific Northwest, and for me who lives in a rural area. When I clicked on this map and seen, I went, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
And one would assume, now I don't know this because I'm not from the area and I haven't had the time to really but I mean, this is obviously, you know, suburban development, and probably recent suburban development. So I mean, this is be perfect. As I scroll back more and more and more, you can really start to see, I mean, this would be more what you would consider urban sprawl, and kind of maybe put this encounter in that place, you know? Yeah,
because you can tell the topography of that. It's got some elevation differences. It's got some little ravines down in there. It's got some draws that are undeveloped where those things will, you know, kind of crawl through. But nonetheless, I mean, you know, it's happening more frequently than not. It's not like, oh, we heard of one last year. I just mentioned at the start of this that we've actually talked about 6 or so in the last 12 weeks. I
mean, yeah, it's been, you know, these are 2 recent ones. We had the guy, I believe, in Colorado that choked the cougar out. Now, that started out from some news reports being this giant cougar that was 700 pounds, and then it ended up being a 30-pound kitten.
I thought it was like a 9-pound house cat when it was all said and done, to be honest. But I mean, that looked, you know, like a
but I mean, it's just constant stories, and actually, in one of the news reports of this Leavenworth cat, they actually interviewed another lady with her 5-year-old son or 6-year-old son that had also had an encounter with a cougar in that same area. I would assume probably the same cat, and it was in their backyard, and luckily they noticed it and got the kid indoors and didn't have an issue. But I mean, we got
Mike Zanger here says, we had a cougar follow a cyclist in Spokane this week, in this area this week.
Wow.
Cops intercepted the woman. She didn't even know the cat was stalking her. No attack.
Wow.
Okay.
So there you go.
I mean, it's just, we're not trying to, like, you know, paint a bad picture here. No. But the level of encounters, the number of encounters, and on the increase is happening. And we bring that back to say, we're not very good at hunting kitty cats anymore. The question I want to throw out to hunters is, if you're tuned in tonight, or even if you're watching later on and want to leave messages or make comments, have you in fact had a known cougar encounter while you've been out hunting? Have you drawn one in, either using predator calls or whatever? If you happen to be hunting coyotes, have you had one stalk you that you realized if you're out deer or bear hunting or whatever it is, whatever game you're choosing to chase, have you had a cougar encounter or one that you realized had been stalking you for some time, and how did that make you feel?
Personally, having had 2 verified cougar encounters while hunting elk, and had another encounter a third encounter that I believe was a cougar, but never got eyes on it to confirm.
Might have been Bigfoot.
Very possibly.
Just throwing that out there. Might have been Bigfoot.
I think there's knowing that I've had 2 for sure where I made eye contact, and then had another one where I was suspicious and thought it probably was a cougar. I know I've probably had a lot more that I didn't even know about. And that's the scary part. And I know, you know, other bow hunters that do a lot of elk calling, or any of the other hunters out there, but mainly guys that are calling elk. I mean, you probably have a lot of encounters you don't even realize. They're there. So let's switch gears here a little bit. So that kind of covers the cougar stuff that's been going on along the, you know, West Coast. But we have more predators making news. We've had 2 wolves killed in the Northeast Washington area this week. Actually, Memorial Day weekend. We had one wolf that they're still investigating that they found dead. The caller on it was I believe it's here a 2-year-old female that wound up dead, and the caller sends out a signal when it dies. And WDFW. So they're still investigating that. So if you guys have any information at all in the death of that wolf, which with the triple S, shoot, shovel, shut up. I highly doubt anybody has any information.
Shoot, shovel, shut up. Yeah, probably not a lot of talk about that.
Right. Go ahead and contact WDFW if you have information on that. That one, I believe, was in the Little Pend Oreille National Wildlife Area in Stevens County. The second one, and we're going to go back to the map here in a second, but the second one happened just outside of Kettle Falls. And guy, and I believe it's his son, were out hiking not too far from their homes when they encountered a wolf in the trail.
Yeah.
And he was packing a shotgun, whether he was turkey hunting or whatever he was doing, but he ended up, because the wolf tended to stand its ground, ended up shooting that wolf with his shotgun at 25 yards and killed it.
Wasn't it, it not only stood its ground, but it kind of was taking
that's what he said, kind of
steps towards it, kind of like looking at him like, I am going to keep coming at you.
Yep. And so he shot the wolf in self-defense, or in his opinion, self-defense. He did the right thing. He went back to his house, called WDFW, reported the incident. WDFW came out, investigated
like instantly.
Yes. And
there was no messing around.
Right. And confirmed that, it was in self-defense.
Self-defense,
Now, we did have, in some of the stories that were written about this, we did have some people throw in their 2 cents and say that he should have, yelled at the wolf or stood tall at the wolf and it would have ran away and he didn't need to shoot it. But that person making that comments was not standing 25 yards from a wolf in a trail.
They happen to have a gun in your hand. It's like, do you, what are you going to do?
Right. So that encounter was on Mingo Mountain. Like I said, just in the Kettle Falls area, and I pulled this one up on the map too. So you see Kettle Falls here.
Which we were just there.
We were literally just there.
We ate in a restaurant right there.
The Backyard Barbecue. Shout out to them. Because that was
pretty
amazing
good
barbecue.
Stuff. Yeah, not too shabby.
Right, and here is the Mingo Mountain Road, which I'm assuming runs up to Mingo Mountain. It's the only thing I could find on Mingo Mountain. But again, not too far outside of a pretty populated residential area. So
I wonder what the actual wolf population around there is. I don't know.
It's Northeast Washington.
Yeah, it's well, we know we have 124 confirmed.
Right.
We do know that. So I guess the point here is, and why we've consumed so much time is, we have predator encounters.
Yep.
And when it comes to cats, I often wonder, does anybody truly understand the number of cats we have? They have a rough guesstimate, say black bear population in the state of Washington and Oregon. I know Scott Haugen told me at one point, they guesstimate there was 35,000 black bears in Oregon.
Right.
And Washington was probably really close in that number. And I have no idea where that is at now because that was several years ago. But I guess the point is, with the lack of baiting and using hounds for hunting cats and bears, the populations have exploded. What's it going to take to where we get back to being efficient hunters in hunting cats, not just reactionary hunters to hunting cats?
Right.
Because the majority of the cats that are killed tend to be a reactionary protection or encounter. You have your cat tag, you're out hunting another animal, and you realize you've been stalked and you shoot. There's several guys blowing up the old message here that have had encounters while out hunting and shot and killed cats. So it's happening. God forbid if we have to wait until a child is drug off a swing into the woods and gone forever before we change the rules of engagement of how we're able to pursue and hunt cats, because I just think the populations are getting up there.
Right.
And I don't know what that number is.
Right. And unfortunately, all up and down the West Coast, we don't see a turn in the direction of allowing easier access to hunting, whether it be hounds or baiting. In fact, we see it the other way.
Right.
We see the anti-hunting groups really starting to attack cat hunting.
Yeah.
And really trying to stop it.
Yep.
And that's only going to continue.
So, much like some of our other stories that we continue to follow on, we will continue to follow predation and predators, and that includes wolves, bears, cats, and pinnipeds, and birds.
Yep. Anything with teeth.
Anything with teeth or beaks that affects what we like to go and do. So, just, keep abreast of it. If you hear stories, read stories, or have information that you see or come across that you want to post up on our Facebook page, feel free to do so. If it's relevant, we would like to have those discussions and share that information with the masses. So we're running a little over. We're going to show you a short version of our kind of a teaser of our Twin Lakes outing that we had, and successful opportunity on our triploid fishing with the Wise, and a good time we had over there, and some dandy fish we brought home.
Right, this is the world premiere of this video. I haven't even seen this video.
Well, we're going to wait on it.
Oh,
we're actually going to wait. Well, see, I'm even teasing you.
Right.
We're going to, I'm looking at the show sheet lineup here. Why don't we roll that out, David, after we do the bait lab section? I'll kind of hurry up to that bait lab section, which is relevant to the type of fishing we were doing over there at Twin Lakes for these triploids, how we were rigging our bait, and some things that Barnum and I decided we were going to try, and it worked fantastic. And so we're going to share that information with you as far as in pursuit of trout and/or triploids for sure, and then we'll show you that video afterwards. So right now we're going to jump out for a break. We come back, actually, we're going to be in the kitchen. Chef Kelly and Sherry. Chef told me going in tonight's show he has to do it in a two-part. He's cooking up some salmon. As we just, June 1st, actually had our resident coho opener on the North Puget Sound up in Area 10. And folks are up there pursuing coho. So those are a little on the smaller scale. This is a chunk of salmon we got out of the freezer here, which, you know, is fine. I mean, you got to eat them throughout the year, right? So if you have salmon in your freezer, you're going to definitely want to take note of this recipe. It'll be a two-parter this evening. So we're going to jump out for a break. We come back. We'll be in the kitchen for the prep on the salmon cook right here on FHN.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in the kitchen with Chef Kelly, and we have some coho salmon.
Yes, coho salmon, the #1 salmon. Well, I mean, some people argue sockeye, but you know, whatever.
I think it's #1.
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna do a pan-seared coho salmon with a mango curry and a coconut rice. Pretty straightforward stuff.
All right.
Okay.
And you have the skin on?
Skin on my coho. Okay, so we're gonna start in on our mango curry first. Okay. Got our pan hot.
Nice and toasty.
Yep, that's about, I think, a half a teaspoon of yellow mustard seeds. Another half of a teaspoon of cumin seeds.
Okay. So you're toasting these?
Yes. And this is a hot pan already.
Wow.
Oof.
So what do you put them in there? What are you putting that in?
This is
that
just
a coffee grinder?
That is a coffee grinder. Yes. You caught me.
That's some spicy coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I only use this one just for my spices.
Okay.
So.
All right. So, and of course, you wouldn't buy those already ground.
No, I
way.
don't like that. You know, you can. It tends to hold the essential oils better.
Okay. And so why do you toast them first?
Let me check it out. Let me make sure.
Looks good.
Those chilies are. We're toasting them, trying to get the essential oils out, you know, and there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we're trying to get those oils out to make sure it tastes as fresh as it possibly can. Put that back in the pan.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we're going to add our serranos. I'm going to do, that's probably 3 serranos worth. You can go a little heavier if you want. Got some sliced mangoes here. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of picked this. About 4 tablespoons of brown sugar.
Oh, you didn't have that in mind yet?
Uh-huh. So you could also use palm sugar too. So let's bring that to us.
And that was coconut milk.
Yeah, that was coconut milk. And this is my favorite brand here. And this is full fat. You know, there's some, you know, low fat coconut milks out there, and they just don't have any flavor. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
I mean, this is not an everyday meal, probably, you know, for everybody. So let's use the full fat one and spend the extra money for the best brand you can.
Okay, no skimping on the coconut milk.
Don't skimp on the coconut milk. No. Okay.
Okay, so what do you have over here?
Okay, so we're just going to bring this to a boil here. Let this simmer away.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, while that is simmering away, we're gonna get that pan hot for our coho salmon. So we're going to, you know, when I refer to the coho salmon, when I'm seasoning fish, I'm gonna say this is gonna be the presentation side, and this is the skin side. So if you ever hear me say presentation side, this is what I mean right here, okay?
All right,
So,
I'll try to remember that.
So kosher salt. Kind of heavier because we're not going to season the other side because it has the skin on it.
All right.
Okay.
Fresh ground pepper.
Fresh ground black pepper. And because we already have cumin in our dish already, we're going to reiterate it with a little bit of cumin too. All right. All right. So
Stir that up
our
for you.
pan's nice and hot. Hear a good sizzle on there.
Okay.
Take care of that. And yeah. Don't forget about your sauce in the back.
I stirred it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gotta earn my keep around here.
Okay, that's reducing pretty well. Got a nice little sear going on our fish.
Okay.
Okay, we got our oven cranked up to 400 degrees.
400.
Ready to go, preheated, ready to go. Make sure you don't forget about that.
Okay.
This thickness of fillet, I probably wouldn't try to do it all, you know, totally on the stove.
Okay.
Because you'll get too much color, it'll start to burn too much. Okay? So,
Yeah, and we don't want that too done.
right. If it was just a tail piece, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You can probably get away with that.
All right.
Okay, so we're just gonna throw this in the oven, let that finish the rest of the way. And that's typically how we would cook it in the restaurant, is that we would finish it in the oven.
Okay.
Okay?
So, and if you start it in a pan that you can throw in the oven, you can just obviously just throw it right in
Yeah,
there.
and of course we're kind of shooting for medium well. We're, you know, the salmon's, you know, naturally has spring, you know, has like a softness to it, and then as it gets more cooked, it'll start to get a little firmer and firmer. If it gets, you know, hard like a rock, you overcooked it. You're done.
Okay, and isn't there like some white
Yeah,
stuff
that's
that
the
comes
protein.
out if it's getting
If you,
too done?
If you see white proteins coming out, you've already overcooked it. It's
Okay.
done. So it's, you know.
So for that thickness, what do you think about?
Let's start checking in around 5 or 6 minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, then we have time to go ahead and throw it back to the guys in the studio. While we cook that up, Chef.
Like how Chef's changing it up on us. I mean, for several weeks, he's been just knocking them out, one segment done. And here now we got to sit and wait, see how this whole thing finishes.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Well, that's all right. We got a lot going on, and instead of taking a break or going to commercial or anything like that, or we're not even going to discuss weather tonight. We don't have time. I know a lot of you folks appreciate the weather report. Going to forego that this week. We have a friend of ours on the phone, the president of Snohomish Sportsman's Club, Mark Spada, joining us this evening to talk about his kids' Steelhead days on the Skykomish River. Mark, we got you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for stepping in this evening and getting on the show.
Well, thank you. My pleasure.
Yeah. So hey, you and the guys and gals there at Snohomish Sportsman's Club organized a kids Steelhead Days on the Skykomish River. You kicked it off You had, I believe, if I remember the report reading, 67 kids turn out, obviously with adults and whatnot participating. Pretty good turnout. Weather seemed favorable. Kids got hot dogs. There were some fish caught. Tell us all about this this event. I know there's more days coming. And what inspired you guys to put this all together? Sounds like a really fantastic program.
Well, Dwayne, this was something that an idea I had a couple of years ago because as a steelhead guy, and you'll know this too, you just don't see any kids out fishing steelhead anymore. And we started talking amongst ourselves, and I don't even know where you would begin to take a kid fishing if you wanted him to catch his first steelhead. So start having the idea of maybe trying to have some openings where a kid might be able to catch his first steelhead. And I approached Edward Eliezer at Mill Creek, WDFW, and he liked the idea, and he took it and talked to some other people to make sure how it was going to, the ramifications, and if it was legal to do it. And then we just kept working on it, and finally, here, right when the rigs came out for this year, it's actually going to be in the rig starting July 1st, that the first Saturday of every month, the Reeder Ponds area for steelhead will be open only for 14 kids, or kids 14 and under, from 6 till 12.
Now, this group of kids that you got in this year, were a lot of these first-time anglers, or have a lot of these kids been fishing in the past?
Well, I think a lot of the ones that we got this year were kids that had some experience, and that their dads were. We had a really good group of parents that came with the kids. We had a bunch of volunteers that were. We wanted to do a one-to-one mentoring with each kid. If a kid showed up that didn't have any experience, we wanted to have a volunteer to work with every kid. We really didn't have to work with many kids because almost every parent that came worked with their kid, and it was really a neat experience to see all the parents standing next to their kids. They let the kids do the casting and showed them how to do the knot tying and what to do, and it was really a pretty cool how it all turned out where the parents were involved. But eventually we would like to expand it so that if there were some kids out there that wanted to try steelhead for the first time and they didn't have a parent that was accomplished enough to help them, that we'd be able to help them out with volunteers too.
That's fantastic. I know you had a number of contributing sponsors, some of the retail outlets up there that also help you guys out with your Kokanee Derby each and every year. Good group of folks up there that are all working collectively to get kids out fishing, which is fantastic. And you're spot on, Mark. I mean, you don't often see a lot of younger kids out there taking it on, and kudos to you guys to at least put the plan in motion and offer them the opportunity for summer steelhead versus getting them out there for winter steelhead. Right. I don't think you would have had the success going after winter steelhead, so I know you're smart enough to have put that all together. But what you said at the start of this, I'm really intrigued by. I think that is a fantastic idea in the fact that you've already got it moving forward to be recognized in regulations in the coming year, that the first Saturday of each month, June, July, and August, will be allocated 6 to noon for kids 14 and under, closed to adults. It kind of models or patterns after youth turkey hunts, Barnum. I mean, you're kind of giving the kids the opportunity to get out there and really have a go at it and not have to compete with all that. How'd you guys manage to get that one passed? Was it very tough, or was everybody pretty much on board with that, Mark?
It was surprising that there was very little opposition. Even the guys that showed up there that are regulars at Reeder on Saturday mornings, most of the guys were pretty cool about the whole fact, and they were kind of complimentary to us about trying to get more kids. I mean, we've lost a whole generation of steelhead fishermen already.
Yeah.
And we really want to try and get some of these kids hooked on steelhead fishing. But the feedback we got from almost everybody was, even when the fishing wasn't very good, that everybody had a really good time. The fact that these kids could fish in front of Reeder without having, a bunch of other people around them that they would have to compete with. And it really wasn't that hard to get it passed. It was just a matter of making the proposal and making sure that everybody was on board, and the enforcement was there to help us out. And Matt Kennedy was a huge help to me. He did all the sign-up stuff for me, and Mike and Ted and all the sponsors were just great to make it all come together. And we really thought the first Saturday was going to be kind of a learning experience, and we'd kind of have to learn as we go because we knew that there was going to be some stuff to come up. but it really ran pretty smoothly. We had 67 kids, which is way more kids than we thought we could even handle. For a first day, a first Saturday of just trying a new program, it couldn't have gone much smoother than it did.
Right. Now, I know you said that the fishing was a little bit slow, but were you able to get some kids on some fish?
Well, we only landed one fish, and we had a couple other kids that lost fish, but the fishing just hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
And, we can put all the programs together we want, but if there's no fish there, it's not going to, they're not going to catch any money. So on the next, what we do, we're actually going to add a trout pond to, the Sportsman's Club has a big trout tank, so that, if kids want to catch a trout and the steelhead aren't biting, we'll have a little alternative there. So it's kind of a work in progress. We just really feel really strongly that we got to do more to get more kids involved in fishing, because I really do think that we're losing a whole generation of fishermen.
Yeah, well, you guys are definitely taking steps in the right direction. Will the trout pond be there at like the parking lot at Reeder, or at the hatchery
right
there? Or,
yeah.
Okay, all right. In the next 2 dates, those will be the first Saturdays of July and August. What are the dates for the next 2 events?
The 6th of July, and I don't know the date off the top of my head, but whatever the first Saturday in August is.
Okay. Well, awesome, Mark. You're always working on fantastic programs, especially any that can expose kids to fishing. Hats off to you and your group for taking that on, and want to continue to stay in contact with you guys up there north, and keep track of the programs that you're putting out there. And when you got stuff coming up, make sure you let us know here on Fish Hunt Northwest so we can help get the word out for you.
All right. I appreciate the support.
You bet. Have a good evening. Thanks for taking time.
You too.
All right. Mark Spada. He's been around for a long time. He's been in industry for a long time as a sales rep, and just his name is well known, and he's a big driver for the Kokanee Derby up there, and just a great guy, doing really good things. And anytime we get kids out,
great work, absolutely great work. Putting an event together like that is not easy. It's a lot of work.
It's a ton of work.
And he's going the extra mile to get WDFW involved and try to get regulation changed. I mean, that's a huge undertaking, and thanks, Mark.
Absolutely. So, all right, if you're interested in what they got going on, check out the Snohomish Sportsman's Club. Find their website and see what programs they got going on. Got a little bit of squeaking going on there. And then, of course, you can look up Mark Spada on Facebook, too, and track what he has going on. He's always involved with these types of programs and promoting fisheries and fishing and, again, working with the kids. So good stuff. We're going to jump out for a break. We come back. We're going to jump into the bait lab. We did a couple things with our Pautzke's fire bait, and our Fireball's eggs while we were over there at Twin Lakes over at Colville. There's a couple different Twin Lakes in the state of Washington, if you weren't aware. Right. There's a set of lakes up north, and
they're all over the place.
There's Twin Lakes everywhere,
Twin
right?
Lakes on Google, like you are going everywhere.
How did I end up in California? So we were at Twin Lakes Colville, and it is on tribal reservation, and they have a phenomenal program there. The Colville Nation actually puts in a lot of effort of planting triploid rainbows in a number of lakes over on the east side. This just happens to be one destination. We had a small group of family and friends over there, so we thought we'd join them this year, and that's what we did. So we're going to show you in the bait lab a few things you can do with your floating dough baits, fire bait specifically, how to make it last a little longer on the hook for you, which works out to a great advantage.
Do not miss this, because Dwayne pulled this out. I'd never seen this before, and it is ingenious. I
don't know where I pulled it out, but with that, we're going to jump out for a break. We come back, we'll be in the bait lab. Get your notepad ready, because we're coming at you right here on FHN.
At Metals Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Hey, welcome back to FHN. Obviously, I'm sitting here in the bait lab as I promised you I would be. So we're going to talk a little bit about trout fishing, but specifically what Barnum and I did this last week over there chasing these triploids. Now, these trout are substantially bigger than your average planter rainbow. If you're not familiar with a triploid, it's a genetically altered trout that is sterile. They put them in the lakes. They do not spawn. They grow rapidly. They have a high fat content, and they are delicious. They cut extremely red. They feed them a lot of krill in the hatcheries as they grow, and they dump a ton of them in certain lakes, especially or mostly on the east side of the state. You can look up on trout plant reports and look up under the tribal trout plant reports is where you're going to find different lakes and reservoirs that receive triploid rainbows. So they're very aggressive when it comes to grabbing bait, and one of the best ways of going about catching them, one of the easiest ways, is our floating baits that suspend up off the bottom. And we've talked about this before. The standard rig for fishing any type of our dough baits, as they're referred to, or our floating baits, and of course with Pautzke's I'm using the fire bait, which is a floating dough bait. All right, so we have a 1/2 ounce egg sinker here on our main line. Protect your swivel with a bead, and we were using a 1/2 ounce, but because of wind and things at times, we actually doubled that up, and we were fishing upwards of 3/4 to a full ounce at times, depending. Now, in this situation over there, for that particular fishery, we had extremely long leaders. We were fishing 7 and 8 foot leaders, believe it or not, only because that's where we would find the fish on our electronics suspended in the water column, whether we were in 30 foot of water, 40 50, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the bottom line was we found it to be more effective when we had 7 to 8 foot leaders floating that bait up off the bottom than we did with 4 foot. All right. Also, something to think about. We talk about using dough baits or fire bait, which is a soft bait that is moldable into round pieces or just chunks that you can mold around a hook. Oftentimes something that's good to do is to utilize a treble hook, which you can mold the bait around the treble hook and it would hold on. For these fish over there, due to their size and because they're big and they have large mouths, we were actually using size 4 hooks to put the bait on. And the reason I was using a single size 4 is because, again, the fish have large mouths and they can take a pretty good size bait. Here's a couple examples of the size of baits that we would fish in our dough balls or our dough bait. It's not an issue, or don't think that this is way too big a bait to fish for trout. Again, these things have big mouths and they're big bodied. This size 4 hook works very well to hold these on. Now, if you're taking it out of the jar and simply molding it into a round, for example. So you take some out of the jar and you're basically just going to roll it around in your palms of your hand like that to form a ball. Now that can very easily be pushed onto a treble hook and it holds on quite well. The thing about dough baits or floating baits is that after they hit the water, they do start to loosen up, they get soft, and when you cast that out a few times on a treble hook even and retrieve it back in, it usually falls off on the retrieve. It will last for quite a while, but in the end, after several casts, it's going to come off. Again, we were also using 7 and 8 foot leaders, so standing on the boat and reaching over our shoulder to cast, sometimes you would dip that bait down into the water. And when you would do that and reach back and throw, sometimes if it got wet, potentially with a single hook, you're going to throw that bait off of there. So we would take our ball of bait and with a single hook, one thing we did is simply push the hook through and really mold it around the eye of the hook. Then you take, wipe my hands off quick, you take one of the Pautzke fireballs, which is a synthetic egg, not a natural egg full of egg juice, and you push that onto the hook. Notice it doesn't pop, no egg juice comes out. These are scented, they come in a variety of colors, and they hold together very well. Now you put that beneath that dough ball or that floating bait and snug it down there. Now that actually, a lot of you have probably heard of bait buttons. That actually works well to hold that bait on that single hook. Doesn't allow it to force its way off there because that egg cushions it. It also adds a little extra scent and color contrast depending which egg you're using as far as color and scent. So that there is a very proven method that works very well. Single size 4 when you're going after triploids, and a dual bait combination that floats up tremendously and lasts for multiple casts because it doesn't come flying off of that single hook, as that bait ball synthetic egg stops it very well. Something else you can do, I have here a piece of mesh netting, and it comes in either rolls from Atlas mics, or you can get the pre-cut squares, which I find to be extremely easy. Now I take the pre-cut squares, and just like making a spawn bag or a spawn sack for, say, steelhead fishing, you can take your dough bait, roll it into a ball, set it in the net, in the mesh, and simply form that mesh around it. Couple twists on that, okay? Just like that. And now we're going to take the magic thread, which is an elastic, stretchy thread that works really well. Nice thing is you don't even have to tie knots with this stuff. We're just simply going to wrap this around a good number of times, I don't know, 10 or 12, and then you just break it, and it holds, okay? And you take your scissor, cut that off right at the top, leave a little bit of that mesh. You have yourself a bait ball. Now you can make a bunch of those out of a single jar of eggs, or excuse me, a single jar of the bait. The nice thing is you take your single size 4 hook, and all you have to do, it doesn't even matter where because the mesh is all the way around it, you're just going to run that through and put it on that hook, okay? Now, when that's in the water, it probably hangs down like that. Didn't matter. They take that in with their large mouths, and most every fish was hooked clear down in the throat simply because they take that entire bait offering and inhale it. The nice thing is if the wind's pushing you around and you are having to reel in and cast out again, these baits last. They don't come off. You can cast that bait 5, 6, 10 times. We actually caught fish multiple times on the same bait. We would actually be able to pull that bait and hook out of a fish's mouth. There was enough on there that it still would float the hook up, and you can cast it back out, and we caught multiple fish on a single bait. Now, it's a little extra work to sit around in the evening and maybe tie these together, but the amount of casts and the length that your bait lasts in the water by simply putting it in a little spawn sack is tenfold. So a good friend of mine would often say, all your fish are caught in the garage, and it's something that you need to believe in because your preparation in the evening or the week before is what separates you out when you're out pursuing fish. So just a couple tricks you can use if you're having difficulty with your floating baits. If you're getting a hold of your Pautzke's fire bait and some fireballs, synthetic eggs, you can utilize the single hook and egg and bait method, and or pick up some of the Atlas mic mesh netting and net mesh, and go ahead and make your bait balls of adequate size. Make them whatever size you want. They're definitely going to last, and you're going to not go through as much bait. Give it a try. I guarantee you're going to be happy with the results. With that, the way this was working for us and how well it was working, we shot a bunch of video while we were over there at Twin Lakes, and we caught a whole bunch of triploids. So I'm going to show you a little video clip that we put together. It's about 5 minutes long. Shows you the opportunity we had over there and the different techniques we actually used, which we'll get into at a later date. But it wasn't just sitting on anchor to entice these critters to bite. Barnum and I figured out a couple different, actually 3 different methods we utilized to entice those triploids to striking our presentation. Going to show you that video. After that, we'll go to a break, and then we'll get back with you after that. Anyway, we're out here at Twin Lakes. This is North Twin Lake, and we are here fishing triploids. And they plant a ton of them in here. We got here yesterday, start figuring it out a little bit. We're just basically fishing bait off the bottom, suspended bait, our floating bait off the bottom, and going after some of these big triploids. So jumping in this morning, it's 5 a.m., it's time to go fishing.
Trying things out here, a little different presentation. We kind of just went on a free drift where we're just suspending our bait just a little bit above bottom and just drifting along, and that's a nice fish.
That is a nice fish.
Yeah. And just so we can cover more ground, the anchor fishery with bait wasn't producing like we liked. We went on the troll for a few minutes and had a couple of decent takedowns, and thought, you know what if we go back to that bait presentation, but be able to cover a little more ground and not be stuck stationary. Also used our electronics to figure out that the fish seemed to have dropped a little deeper. We had been fishing around 28 to 30 feet. Got out here, used electronics to see that the fish had actually moved more out in the 40-foot range. So we started our free drift at about 42 feet, and we're drifting in towards that shallower water. And we were on this pass here about, what, 2 minutes?
Maybe.
And take down and a nice fish. Let's see if I can get him in the net here. There we go.
On the free drift. Barnum, this is working.
This is working really well, actually.
Well, because instead of sitting in one spot with our floating bait and letting the fish work their way around and come find us, we're hovering over them, covering ground. We're fishing upslope, and we're finding fish. And they're taking it on the slow drift, basically, right?
Right.
So I like it. It's working well. We're definitely going after this dough bait. That's a nice sized fish.
Yeah.
And this dude is no slouch. Yeah. You know what else is kind of nice? Fighting these buggers on these kokanee rods. I mean, why wouldn't you? Check him out. He is peeling line, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? There he is. Come on.
Do that?
Oh, this guy's, huh?
Are you getting whooped or what?
Yeah, he's the one. I was grabbing the net. He's not giving up anytime soon. Yeah.
Nice fish.
We're finding them out here in deeper water too, Barnum.
Yeah.
We actually cruised out. We got a little wind push, okay? It's just kind of, that's the whole deal with this free drift, is just slowly pushing us at about a 1/4 mile per hour across ground, and we're fishing upslope, as we mentioned. And so we started out in 50 foot of water this time, and we're slowly transitioning up to that 30 foot. We hit a fish or two, run back out, let the wind push us in again. Now keep in mind, conditions are right, speed is right, and I guess if you had to, you could adjust that speed in your troll in direction with your kicker motor, but today it's just such a soft wind, we don't have to do any of that. There we go. That's a good fish.
Yes, it is.
Let's see. Let me pick that guy up for you.
Yeah.
Come here, buddy. Yeah. There you go. That's what we're after. Gorgeous.
At metal supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, metal supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a metal supermarket store near you today.
Welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We are in studio here with our in-studio guests, and I guess we'll figure out if our microphones are working or not. We may have a little mic check problem here, but we're going to resolve it. Tony Wintrip, first time in studio.
Yes.
Thanks for making the drive.
Glad to be here.
Got off work and got on the road and got here. So for those not familiar, Bull Down Productions, you're a musician. You're an accomplished elk hunter by in most regards, I would say.
I try a little bit of everything.
We're going to get to your music later on. Got a little treat for you folks in store, which is pretty exciting here. It'll be a first for the FHN studio. Barnum, you've known Tony for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's the same area I'm from.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played baseball against his brother.
Okay.
Yeah, brother.
All right.
His brother got the best of me a few times. So.
All right. No microphone on Barnum, huh? Okay, we're going to have to resolve that. So let's talk a little bit about that little Roosevelt you took a poke at back in 2015.
Yeah, it's a good bull. Really good.
Yeah?
I've never seen that bull either. Never seen a bull that size.
How much time do you put in before season scouting and whatnot?
A lot.
A lot? You put a lot of effort in out there?
Yep. Trail cameras and bear season's always a great time to be scouting for elk. So
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time out there.
Okay.
You know that, but mainly just elk hunting. I'd rather just skip right through the bears and go right for the elk. But
Do you pursue bear, pretty regularly? Every year? Or?
used to a lot.
Yeah.
And then I did shoot a really nice one probably 5-6 years ago, and ended up costing me so much money in sausage. I said, hell with it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stick to shed hunting during the spring now.
Okay.
So I like
Get some scout time in, get your cameras out there.
Yeah.
So back in 2015, you'd never seen this bull.
No, I had never seen that bull. I'd seen some nice ones, and nothing that resembled these coffee can bases.
Right.
Unbelievable.
It was a shocker when it first came in. I was actually calling the bull in for my brother, and how this bull got in the back when I thought I was pulling a broadside for my brother. I didn't have narrow knocked or nothing, and next thing you know, he's at like 25 yards looking down on me, and his horns were big around, and his body was the size of a school bus.
Yeah.
I went trying to strip an arrow out really quick, and I drew back, and I wasn't even in the rest. That thing took off running, and I freaked out. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Anyway, we put another hunt on him. We kind of got some steep ground, and my brother ended up seeing him again, and he was hooking a tree, and we were going to try and call him. Calling elk downhill is tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst thing about elk hunting ever is calling an elk downhill, because they're always above you looking down. And it was the only show we had. It was like, we're on the steepest ground ever. And we couldn't really get up around them because there was a couple of draws that were so steep. We just had to make it happen. And long story short, it pegged my brother trying to get through this little bit of a fern flat to get set up to try and bring the bull downhill. And he just pegged him and was watching him for a few minutes, and wind started to swirl, and I'm like, it's now or never. So I just got behind one of those big old growths and stayed behind it and cut as much ground as I could, as fast as I could, and did the old peekaboo with my rangefinder behind the tree, and I think it was 47 yards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good poke.
And fortunately, made a great shot.
Yeah.
Good Lord willing and everything. And I had no idea I knew he was big, but when I walked up on him, and the size of Roosevelt elk is just out of control, compared to a Rocky body size. Not all, but this one was
a monster.
Exceptional.
What do you score?
349 and some change gross, and netted 345 and an 8.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Washington State record?
Yeah.
Yep.
Washington State, true Roosevelt.
Yep.
For archery. So.
Yeah. Congrats,
a little bit of excitement, man, once you walked up to that bull.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna lie about that one.
Right.
Yeah, there was some yahooing. There was a lot of yahooing.
Right.
How were the nerves prior to releasing that? It the time of putting that rangefinder on him and knocking an arrow and just making a decision to release sound pretty quick. So you didn't have much time to let the nerves get a hold of you, or they were there?
I wrote a song called Just Elk It, and it's based solely on when your plot fails when you're trying to call elk, you've got to do anything to make that happen.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of people that just let them run off and say, I'll go back and get them the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my motto is just elk it.
Yeah.
Be an elk, I'm going to make noise if I need to make noise, and I'm going to get in there as fast as I can and try and make it happen.
Right, you've called enough elk to know that plan A always fails. Plan B, C, D, E, and F will always fail. Yep. And it's about plan Y where you kill him.
Right.
Which makes it awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
If plan A always worked, it wouldn't be that fun.
Yeah, it's all about eating elk for us. We love hunting elk. We don't buy beef anymore. We just love to eat elk, and when it comes to putting meat on the table, I'll do whatever I got to do legally to get the job done.
To get it done.
Elk. I mean, that's the way it goes. Just elk it.
Just elk it.
Get right. Just elk it.
Okay. Well, it's a good model to live by. You've been out in the woods for quite a while. You said you took up archery hunting back in college and been very passionate about it ever since. Let's talk a little bit about a cougar encounter you had.
Oh, yeah. You guys did awesome with that segment earlier on predators. That cat was on my trail camera like 42 times.
Wow.
And he had been using the same pattern back and forth so much. I got the shingles years ago. Well, it wasn't years ago. It was just a couple years ago. And I couldn't go to work. And I was sitting there thinking about that cat and how many times it's on the camera. And I'm like, I got to get up and go for a drive. So I had to change my sick leave time from work to vacation.
Wait, did this happen before the cat or after the cat? I got to post some pictures here.
Right. Yeah.
It's all difficult. Anyway, I tried to call that cat in one time before, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had the Johnny Stewart, I think it was the Prey Master. I think they stopped making, I think, that brand. They make some new ones now. Anyway, the first time I set up, and I was by myself, so I set up halfway into the clear cut where I could watch the reprod edge just in case. I was going to let him cat scratch fever me, you know. So he didn't come in the first time, and I moved, and the whole time I kept the wind right, just like a elk hunting.
You hadn't hunted cats prior to this first time? Decided I'm going to go get that cat because he's been coming across my trail cam.
He's living there.
Way too much.
Living there.
Yeah, and that's the only thing. If I wouldn't have that trail camera out there, I would have never known.
Right.
I'd never known, and that was in the end of December. I had an archery tag that year, and I was hunting an hour from here. And anyway, when I had my camera up trying to find a buck, a cat just kept coming through there, and then I just pieced it together like this thing's on a system.
Yeah.
Well, I was using, it was like a goat in distress, I think was one up on the card for that reader, and something else. And when that cat came in, it never made a noise, never made a sound, and all I could see was a muzzle. 18 yards.
Wow.
And fortunately, and this is a good rule for everybody to live by that's calling stuff, you've got to turn your scope down. If you're using anything with a rifle, you know, scope-wise, you've got to turn it down. Shotgun, obviously you don't have one, but I had fortunately turned it down, and at 18 yards, I mean, I hit him, and I ain't gonna lie, I double-tapped him.
Just to make sure?
Double-tap him.
Yeah.
He had the raspiest scream at me when I clicked my safety off.
Really?
It went from, oh gosh, and his big old pumpkin Tom, and I clicked the safety off, and it went, wow! Like just a raspy sound, and I popped in really quick 2 times. And for people that don't know about cougars, they're solid muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Neither 2 of those 130 grain bullets exited that cat at 18 yards.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Like hitting a sheet of plywood.
Wow.
And I walked around him for
a while.
Minutes laying there on the ground, these big old paws on him. I'm like,
did he go far?
He's dead, you know. Right.
Did he go far at all?
He dropped right in his tracks. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
So,
did you eat him?
Absolutely.
Delicious?
And it is exactly what everybody says.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very cool. Well, you're here for a while, and going to pull out the guitar later on, which will be a first, which I can't wait. That's going to be some good stuff. So lots of things going on with you. You're very busy. Your music keeps you on the road. You're working, got a family, avid and accomplished hunter in all regards. So glad you said yes to our invite to come to studio tonight.
It's beautiful in here.
Yeah.
You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you. Yeah, we're pretty happy with it, and we're just trying to bring relevant information week in and week out and get guys like you that just, you know, day-to-day walk of life and enjoy the outdoors, very passionate about what you do, and that's why we want to get you in here. And not to mention, you got a bunch of people tuning in tonight that, you know, follow you anyway because of your music and whatnot. So congratulations on that.
Northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it.
There you go.
That's awesome.
That's what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
We want to fish, we want to hunt, we want to continue to live in the Northwest. So, all right, very good. We are going to jump out for a break. We come back. You'll definitely want to stay tuned. We're going to finalize that salmon cook. So get your notepad ready. Well, you won't have to, because when we're done with the show, we get to go in there and take part in that. So I know you're looking forward to that.
Sample City.
That's right. Chef Kelly and, of course, Sherry will put the final cook on that chunk of salmon right here on FHN when we come back after this break.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the kitchen, and we're about to get that coho out of the oven.
Yes, coho salmon.
Okay.
With the, if you're just joining us, we have the pan-seared coho in the oven, and we're going to finish up our mango curry sauce, and we're going to also finish up our coconut rice that goes with it.
All right.
Okay, let's check on our coho. Make sure we're not overcooking that sucker.
No white coming out of there?
No. I'm going to say the little carryover heat on the pan will get us right there. Okay. So let's finish our mango curry sauce.
Wow, look at the colors come through.
Right.
The mango just kind of
and
colors it all up.
It'll add a little more yellow once we start pureeing it too.
Okay.
Okay. That smells good.
Smell like cumin.
Yeah, a little bit cumin and all those fun spices in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be adding some yogurt to it. This is plain old everyday yogurt.
Plain, no taste, no nothing.
Yeah.
I think it even says plain and simple.
Plain and simple, right?
Yeah.
We're going to add just a little bit of salt.
Okay.
This is primarily a sweet thing, but all things need a little bit of salt too. Even pastries need a little bit of salt.
Oh.
I mean, you've added a little bit of salt to your cookies, right?
Yeah, when I used to make them.
What do we got?
I should probably plug it in, Chef.
That helps.
I apologize.
There we go.
Okay.
We're gonna add a little cilantro too.
Okay. I love cilantro. I would probably add a little more, but Dwayne doesn't really like it.
Is he one of the same people that...
He's one of those that, you know,
tastes
you
like
either
soap?
really like it or you don't like it at all. Yeah.
Oh, that's delicious.
I'll take your word for it until I get to taste it.
For 3 serranos, I would probably say that's like a little on the spicy side. So if you want to dumb it down, I'd probably say one serrano for your heat level if you don't like spicy food. Okay?
Okay. I like it spicy.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you put that in there,
I sure
I'm going to
will.
finish up the coconut rice. So I cooked some short grain rice here, or Calrose rice. I like this a lot. This is probably my #1 rice. Then I'm adding some toasted coconut. I use sweetened coconut because I think that there's more flavor in sweetened coconut.
So you toasted that this morning?
Yeah, you know,
I think you might have burned a batch.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I added just a little bit of coconut milk too to try to give it a little bit of creaminess to it.
Hey, it's good to let everybody know that you burn stuff too.
Hey, I'm human, okay? I just, you know.
All right. Oh, so you mixed it all in the rice?
Yes.
Yeah.
little bit of cilantro too. Good.
Looks good.
Okay, we're ready to plate.
Wow, that was quick.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit of our coconut rice.
Always add so many colors and textures to your dishes.
Well, we also eat with our eyes too. Okay, our big, beautiful coho salmon. Look at that.
Wow.
I know. I can't wait for coho season. It's coming up soon. Okay, and our beautiful mango curry. We're gonna do a little bit on top. That. A little bit around.
Your little drizzle.
So what do you think on
amazing.
difficulty level, right? It's not that bad?
No, not at all, really. I mean, you just get the regular ingredients that you should have on hand anyway. As you say, the spices, there's no reason to not have them.
And there you go.
Do a little garnish.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Here you go, guys. Hand-seared coho salmon, coconut rice, mango curry.
So, grab our forks.
Yes, grab our forks.
Okay. And we'll throw it back to the guys in the studio. Maybe we'll leave them a little bit.
Maybe.
No,
That's a big maybe.
I don't think so today.
Hey, welcome back in studio. It looks like they got that fish finally done.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty doggone tasty, as it always is. We might be having some mic issues that we need to resolve. So we are going to jump out for a commercial break. We come back, we're going to have a gentleman on the phone. You want to hear this story. Gary Greenwald from Alaska was out hunting and had a close encounter with a brown bear in approximately about a yard or so, Barnum. 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the universe, according to one said Dirty Harry. Right. So Dirty Gary is going to get on the phone with us. We're going to walk down the historical path of his encounter with this brown bear. You don't want to miss this. This story will probably make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. We'll get to that when we come back after this commercial break right here on FHN.
What if there was a smarter way to search for your new home? Introducing the Better Homes and Gardens real estate website and mobile app. This revolutionary new search tool puts your needs first. Narrow your search to what matters most to your family, like school data, school districts, and even walk scores. Get easy access to your local affiliated agent, as well as unique and local insights about neighborhoods and properties directly within the app. With synced and saved preferences, you'll always pick up wherever you left off. Get your smarter search started today with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate.
Hey, welcome back to Fish Out Northwest. We are in studio with our guest Tony Wintrip, but we're going to take a little break from talking with Tony, though he's going to be involved with the conversation because he's an accomplished hunter, avid hunter, can appreciate a good hunting story, Barnum, like all of us can.
And he's had encounters like this, obviously, with that cougar.
Yeah. I don't want to, blow the thunder here. Not getting him on the phone?
He's not answering.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, keep trying. So to set the stage on this, Gary Greenwald, our guest who's supposed to be on the phone, I referred to him as... I'm hearing a message. Yeah. A.K.A. Dirty Harry. Dirty Gary. So close encounter with a brown bear. He was hunting bear. And apparently this one decided to stick his head inside his blind or right at his blind.
Right.
Within about a yard.
Yeah.
That's why you carry a handgun.
Yes.
When you're hunting bears.
Especially in Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll try to get him on the phone, and if not, Tony's going to have to grab his guitar a little bit early.
Tell us a little more about Bowl Down Productions. Let's
get into that.
Waiting.
Yeah. So Bowl Down Productions, my album 2 albums ago was called Bowl Down, and I wrote some songs about elk hunting. Basically, growing up in the Northwest, a lot of things that apply to elk hunting, fishing, hunting, loving, living, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we started playing some pretty good gigs, and so everybody wanted hats, shirts, whatever. And Bowl Down is like the ultimate cadence of every elk hunter.
Right.
Right. I mean, every time you put a bowl down, first thing you do is you pick up your phone or your radio and you say, "Hey, buddy, bowl down."
Yeah.
Right. That's the first text that goes out.
Yep.
Right.
So I titled it Bowl Down Productions. My buddy Jesse Marlowe, as you know, Jesse videoed our hunt last year on a Rocky Mountain bull, and we used Bowl Down Productions, for our YouTube video. And,
yeah.
So basically, that's the live and die by elk hunting. I just can't get enough of it, and Bowl Down is where my heart's at.
Yeah. Do you have many videos out there?
Just a couple.
Just a few?
Yep, we have one called Northwest Wild and one called Bowl Down.
Okay.
But the Northwest Wild one is right here in the Northwest. My brother taking a really nice Roosevelt, and then some fishing video to go with it. So
yeah.
It was cool.
You got the Bowl Down wares, right?
What's that?
You got the Bowl Down wares, the clothing items and the hats.
Yep, the apparel, yeah.
Yep.
We have sweatshirts, shirts, hats. They say Bowl Down or straight out of elk camp is the lingo that I'm working on now. So
straight out of elk camp.
Yeah, and
love it.
Just did the Northwest Archery, Northwest Mountain Challenge last weekend, and we did good with that kind of stuff. So,
oh,
anyway,
outstanding. Okay, we are going to get to this brown bear story, Barnum. We
Good.
have Gary Greenwald joining us on the phone from Alaska. How you doing, Gary? Can you hear him, Dave? Sounds like a little broken up. We got you there, Gary? Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, we're picking you up. So, hey, we got a little information that you had a pretty close encounter with a brown bear recently when you're out hunting. Why don't you kind of walk us through how that actually unfolded?
Well, yeah, it was definitely close. Story. I got this encounter last week. It was probably the same bear, and he just never offered me a shot opportunity. But this past year, a couple of weeks ago, I'm getting ready to establish a structure now coming past my ground blind. So I was kind of prepared for a close encounter. I just really wasn't expecting it to happen the way it did. So anyway, it was about 11:45 tonight. My fiance just texted me if anything could come in. I literally just typed no and hit send. I heard some brush break, heard him breathing right to the blind, and he walks right around the front edge of the blind. There's kind of a tree there, and then my window, like about, you're looking at the front of the blind, 2 o'clock position. He walks right around that tree, sticks his face right in the ground blind with me. At that point, he's literally 2 feet from me.
Wow.
And he turns around, like maybe like he's going to walk down to the bait, and he kind of hesitates, and I was able to get the pistol up in my lap, ready to go, and took a step forward, and I was able to shoot him in the neck and drop him. And I put him down for good, and I heard some some moving, and I stood up to see what was going on, and he was getting up.
Oh.
I reached out the blind and point blank him right at the shoulder, and that round actually broke his shoulder and went down and pierced his heart and then out the bottom of the chest cavity.
Wow.
But I didn't know what damage it did at the time. I just knew the bear was trying to step and go. And I failed out the blind. He was trying to run off. I shot a third time, and apparently that one just never kind of didn't roll for that one. And then I kind of chased after him and got into a little better shoot position and put 2 more shots into his vitals, and he collapsed at that time, and he was done. So, I mean, it was literally over in up to 15 or 26.
Wow. So when he came up and he stuck his head in the blind, do you think he was scent checking the blind to see if you were there?
I think he was, because it's what he did to me last year. He would come in and he would follow my trail in. He did it 2 separate times, and he'd walk right at the back of the blind. The first time he did it last year, he kind of came around the side and sniffed the screen where I just saw his nose next to the blind, and then he smelled the time it was gone. The second time he did it, he walked right up to the door and smelled around and turned around and left, and never gave me a shot either time. So I think he was scent checking it. And it's kind of funny because I just turned my little ozone generator on 5 minutes before that, and I had a thermocell going to keep the mosquitoes out of the blind. And he never acted alarmed one bit.
Wow.
So,
That's unbelievable. Did you shoot him 4 times with your handgun?
Yeah, 4 times the handgun.
Yeah. What did that bear weigh?
He's probably, I didn't put him on a scale of I'm guessing, probably between 400 and 500 live weight. You know, he hadn't fattened up at all yet for the year, so he definitely wasn't as heavy as he would have been later on in the year. But he was a biologist said he's probably 5 or 6 years old, so he wasn't a super old bear.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mature. So those kind of encounters happen when you're on the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The impressive part about this story is you said last year, the first time he came in, he stuck his nose to it, and you allowed there to be a second time.
Yeah. It's like, you probably should have done this the first time.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I would have invested in a tree stand.
I don't mind getting close like that. I mean, those ground ones, you know, I feel fairly safe most of the time, but that was a little too close for comfort. So.
Well, they have fairly good memories actually, and they're trainable. That's why they're in their circus. They ride bikes and balance on balls and stuff. And that's probably why he remembers where he was kind of poking his nose around last year and says, "Oh, I remember this dude.
Right?
Yeah, he's friendly." So I'm gonna come check you out.
Right. And it goes to the nature of the bear because he comes in, he scent checks, he has to smell Gary, has to.
Yeah.
And instead of spooking and running off, he's going to proceed to the bait and get a little food. Doesn't care about you one bit.
Not a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. What'd the fiance say when you let her know exactly how this encounter went down?
He was probably about as excited as I was, and then once I kind of gave her, I called her. You know, once I knew that there was down, I backed out of there and I called her. And, I was pretty wound up after it happened.
Yeah.
And told her how close it actually. Like, what? She was, then wow, that was pretty intense because she was actually going to come home with me that night, and did not do. So she would have had a front row seat. She come up. Kind of glad she wasn't there because that.
Do you?
So much for a first-time bear hunter.
Do you recall if you said anything when that thing poked his head in? I mean, did you yell at it? And of course, you can't belt out an expletive right now, but.
I think we didn't pull out a warning. I mean, I heard him, and I thought he's in there, and it's just, when they're that close, you don't want to startle them. I had a black blanket over me because it's kind of cold. It's cooler at night. And, my intention at that time is to make sure, I don't scope you, get something here with me. And, I had the gun in my hand. I was ready to go because I was expecting a close encounter.
Sure.
To some degree before the trails were down. So, as soon as he offered me a clean shot, I took it.
Yeah.
And next time, and I do need to practice that 1-yard shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, got to be ready for all distances.
You do.
That's pretty amazing. Well, we're extremely glad that you were able to take the bear out and hit, and not the other way. And that you're, actually here talking about it on the phone tonight. So congratulations on that, and hopefully you put a lot of meat in your freezer, and it's nice to know that you're safe.
Yep. I'm actually in the parking spot getting ready to get a vehicle in that 24 48 hours for another one.
Yep. Well, right on. Well, hey, appreciate you taking the time tonight to jump on with us. I know you're kind of busy up there, and phone connection's a little spotty, but I think we got the gist of the story. So appreciate you jumping on with us, Gary. Have a great evening.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Gary.
Yep. Congrats. All right.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Well, there's that one, Barnum. So
Yeah, he kind of half-heartedly joking said you got to practice that 1-yard shot, but there's truth to that. I know in bow hunting for elk, we always practice that 20-yard shot, 30-yard, 40, but there's a big difference, especially with a bow and probably with a handgun. The difference between 20 yards and 5 yards in your arrow placement is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't think about that.
No.
It's like, if it's at 5 yards, I'll shoot it with my 20-yard pin. And it's probably the same way with a handgun. You get comfortable.
What is a clean shot at 1 yard? I mean, you're parting hair, aren't you? Just stick it in there.
Yeah.
And shoot. Wow.
Well, and when you hear the story is like, I shot him in the neck.
Yeah.
And then I shot him in the shoulder and thought it got in there and pierced his heart. And then he got up. And I'm like, it's a 44 Magnum.
Right.
Just shot him within, 2 to 3 feet twice.
Right.
In some pretty vital oriented areas, and that thing's still getting up.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, somebody has a little bit of a adrenaline addiction there, I think. I mean, to be on the ground in known brown bear country, it's awesome. I love it. I want to do it. One of the things I want to do is grizzly or brown bear hunt with a bow. I mean, and so, kudos to him. That is awesome.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, again, and I'm, in all sincerity, I'm glad he's still here to talk about it, because sometimes those don't go exactly as planned or, unplanned, and then what unfolds. So, okay, we're going to jump out for our last commercial break. Actually, before we do, Tony, are you the grandson of Dick Wintrip?
I am.
That worked at Grays Harbor County.
Yes, sir.
Custodial boss extraordinaire.
Absolutely. My grandpa was a fabulous man.
Yeah, we have a Patty Pie is asking that question. So there you go. Hi, Patty.
Yes, I am.
You can't hide when you come on this show. Everybody, is that right?
That's
Good
right.
to know. Figured we'd ask the question while we had it up here. So don't go anywhere. We're going to jump out for a break. We come back. Tony's grabbing his guitar. Going to jump into a little bit of the other side of what you got going on in the Bull Down Productions, and the musician side of him is going to come out. You pick whatever song you want to throw out, or two. We got time.
Yep.
We'll see what you can bring to the table. Stick around. You're going to want to hear this man. He's fantastic. We'll get to that when we come back right here on FHN.
At Metal Supermarkets, we understand your need for fast access to a wide variety of metals, so we've made it easy. Our network of stores carries a wide variety of metal in all different types, shapes, sizes, and grades, with no required minimum order size. Who could ask for more? Simply tell us your dimensions online, on the phone, or in store, and we'll cut or process the metal to your desired size, often while you wait. We offer same-day service and can deliver the metal right to your door or job site. We even source hard-to-find metals, so no matter what you're looking for, Metal Supermarkets can provide it for you. And we're conveniently located with brick-and-mortar stores in Seattle and Portland, so you can check out our extensive stock for yourself. Superior customer service is guaranteed. Quality service from real people who know metal. We are the small quantity metal experts. To place an order, simply call a store to talk to one of our knowledgeable customer service representatives. Fill out a quote request online, order off of our e-commerce website, or visit one of our many locations and pick out the metal you want. Whether you're a small or large business, government, homeowner, or hobbyist, we make it easy for you to buy the exact metal and just the amount you need. We've been doing this for over 30 years, so we know how to get it done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Visit or call a Metal Supermarket store near you today.
Welcome back to Fish on Northwest. We are here in the studio with our new best buddy, Tony Wintrip, Bull Down Productions, and you're going to do a song for us that you wrote. Of course, you write all your own music, right?
Yes,
and what's this song called, and why'd you write it? How'd you come up with it?
This song's called Northwest Wild, and growing up in the Northwest paints the perfect picture of what it's like being a kid. I used to peel cascara bark when I was a kid. People that don't know what that is, I mean, it was about 11 cents a pound or something like that back when we peeled. And
Yeah,
we
now
used
they
to
get over 50.
Yeah, we used to pack bark out of canyons. We used to, me and my cousin and Brad, and we would take our fishing poles, bobber and worm, and we'd throw it out in the beaver pond, and then we'd go peel the cascara bark, and if we got a bite, we'd climb back down and go try to reel the fish in. So, I mean, the Northwest is definitely, you know, where I want to live my life.
Yeah.
And then it talks about, you know, hunting, fishing, clam digging. There's some clam digging plugs in it. Yeah, so
It's a well-rounded Northwest song, yeah.
It really is.
It's all about Fish on Northwest.
Yeah, I don't have anything about crab in there yet, but I should put crab because I love to eat crab.
Just all a bunch of stuff you like to eat.
Sea lions will be in the next segment of the song.
You have to do a full-on song about predation.
Yeah. Oh,
Huh?
dear kitty kitty.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. I like it. Okay, well, we won't keep it waiting any longer here. We're going to give you the stage and bust this one out, and we'll finish it up and see where we're at, and might even get a second song. And so,
all right.
Here you go. Tony
Northwest
Wintrip.
Wild goes like this.
That don't make you want to go grab your boat or your
fishing pole and
or
get
something.
outdoors.
Yeah.
Nothing will.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. How do you like the acoustics of this place?
It's great.
Huh?
It sounds awesome.
Yeah, we could record an album in here.
We need to just have a concert in.
Okay, well, we can do that. Roll the door open, have everybody sitting out there. We talked about that,
We're
so
gonna need a keg.
probably gonna need a keg. Yep.
I know
Or
the people
more
I
orca.
run around with and the people you run around
Yeah.
with.
Oh yeah.
More orca beer too.
Yes.
There you go. It's for a good cause, raising money to put more salmon in the water and save the orcas. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and the top of this here, your carrier is actually completely 100% biodegradable, so it's not going to get birds and stuff caught up in it. So it's the entire thing is well thought out. Good plan that they've put in operation down there in Tacoma. Yeah, pretty good deal.
Very cool.
So, wow, man, that was fantastic. What? How many albums you got out?
I have 2 available on iTunes and CD Baby, Bull Down and Northwest Wild. I did record a few other ones several years ago, and they're not available on iTunes or CD. That was back when social media was barely even anything.
Sure.
I might
And
have
now-
those albums floating
Yeah.
around.
You probably
Still
do.
listen
Yeah.
to them. I
Yeah.
have one in my meat shop that we fire up every time we're cutting.
Oh,
meat.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most of
right
them
on.
are floating around in high school kids' pickups or something like
Yeah.
that from back in
Okay.
the day.
Great music.
Anyway.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank
All right, pick another song.
So I'm in the process of recording down in Montesano, Tyler Tingy's studio, and a song that I wrote for the guys for Born and Raised. They got everything going on, and
They're kind of busy.
they're good dudes.
You do much with them? I see you're wearing their hat.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I just met them last weekend at
Oh, wow.
Northwest Mountain Challenge, and Trent is super nice, and we talked about the song, and actually played the song down there, and it went over really well.
Oh,
So,
good.
yeah, it's called Born and Raised.
Oh, well, weird.
Kind of cuts the home about growing up as a kid. Same thing, you know. I write a lot about things that I've gone through in my life, or how I was raised, and what I believe in.
Yeah,
And anyway, so it's called Born and Raised.
very cool. We are going to give you the stage. You're going to knock it out of the park. And as the song winds down, we're going to close out the show. So we're going to close her out, David, with Tony playing Born and Raised.
Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
excited.
Thanks for coming
Very
in.
Yeah, it's great to get you in here. Absolutely. Good stuff.
All right, here's Born and Raised. I grew up in a little town, hell on wheels with the hammer down. I only had a couple of things in mind. Started out chasing girls and chasing bucks, bugling bulls and mallard ducks. Occasional rainbow from the lake, where I was born and raised on hunting. Can you take me fishing? As a young boy, I was always wishing I could make a living working in the woods someday. Born and raised in a garden, taters and corn, praying at the table, coffee in the morning, thanking the good Lord for who I am today. Now I was born and raised. Born and raised. Now I remember making mistakes, my grandpa's favorite line, for goodness sake. And I recalled the first buck knife that I owned, oh yeah. My first pickup hauling ass, had to get my first job paying for gas. And all I heard was Garth on the radio, where I was born and raised on hunting. Can you take me fishing? As a young boy, I was always wishing I could make a living working in the woods someday. Born and raised in a garden, taters and corn, praying at the table, coffee in the morning, thanking the good Lord for who I am today. Now I was born and raised.